Let's see if this is better. This is round 2. We'll see if this looks the part. Okay, that looks better to me. It's now in 19. All right. I apologize about that. So frustrating. So frustrating. Again, but this is what happens when you're building something. I appreciate everybody. We're doing something big here. Doing big things. Doing big things. Come back in. Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. Wait for a few people to get back in here. If not, no worries. I'm just going to continue from where I was on the previous video. The quality dropped. I don't know why. No clue. Zero. Not really end of the world confusion, but what is what it is. So let me go back to the IWM monthly, and I apologize for that. What do y'all notice? Like the trends definitely, like this was the blow off. You know how we talk about straight line moves leading to the end, right? This is it. Sorry, folks. That's the end. Now what? I mean, you're going to probably turn into this mush pattern. And mush pattern means slam. Slam dance. Slam dance. Is anybody here? I got to make sure confirm. Think it's good. Right now it says there's 3 concurrent viewers. Wow. 3. Awesome sauce. So now what? I mean, I think you're going to probably bounce back down to the 160s near term. Let me pull it in back to the daily. I apologize if you got kicked out and you're back. It just is what it is. Until I get my new monitors, this is a struggle. Because I really hate. Because this is how I know. Here, I'll show you guys what I see. This is how people see it's not optimal. And you see how the black bars on the side. It's just not cool. Yeah, you don't want to see that. So, learning progress. I apologize. Y'all be good. It seems that every time I tinker with the screens and go back and forth, it downgrades my resolution, which not friendly. Not friendly. Warning, how do I fix that? If anybody knows, I will be in debt to you. But at this point, let's see. Drop the quality down to 480. Playback speed, normal. Yep. Just tinkering. Again, this is all butchered, but it's going to be worth it, I promise you. And let me get this right. All right, daily IW, I'm just going to run with it. Note to self when I'm going to have to add, let me try something else real quick. Display capture. Let's call it monthly chart. Let me just do this real quick. I'll see if it makes it helps. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I change it from. What's the screen look like? You got that. It's still the resolution is chunky. Okay. Huh. Is what it is. Okay, your link just showed up on my TV, so I'm probably going. I'm probably trying to get in. Yeah, I'm trying to get this visual right, Shannon, and just is what it is. People can get mad. I really don't care. I'm giving you, I think, pretty good free content. Little low volume, but okay. All right, let's just jump back into it. Pretend I'm a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff because I want it. If I'm watching this and it sounds like crap and it looked like crap, it would annoy the crap out of me, basically. Right now, IWM probably going to bounce somewhere in the 178 to 174. And again, you want it to bounce back. Trust me, you want this to drop and pop back. Trust me, you don't want the straight line moves just yet. It could happen. This is why if you're short, you're sitting in the catbird seat. But let me put my notes in, right? Like this is where you have to add your own notes, right? And I have, again, my charting software has literally a watch list where I can put in the notes. I have the last change, high, low, a comment, open, volume, and the VWAP. So let's add it somewhere. Support under 180. Expect a bounce shortly after. Got it? Good? Cool. Cool story, bro. Gold. This is where it's going to get real easy. I honestly, personally think if you like gold, you're going to love what's going to happen here. Remember we talked about this. It's a monster cup and handle. And you can see it. And when we zoom in, we say the 0.382 is always the handle, like the max handle you should really have. Somewhere in the 157s. I mean, I'd love it for it to hit the 50-month. Just remember that, like, when the market pukes, nothing's safe. I say this all the time. People listen, they don't listen. I don't care. I have an alarm at 157. I mean, I don't necessarily think I'll start buying then, but we know gold is the double bottom king. So people are like, well, why would you go accept at 157? This is where it gets a little tricky for the newer folks. If the market is a liquidity-driven mechanism, right? Like they unloaded with the Ukraine news. We all agree. Like they said, if you can have as much as you like. Now we're back down here, right? I think you're gonna have to test the lows, and just like you blew off the top to get everybody to buy, you're probably gonna have to blow off the bottom. Because look, once it got over, I mean, I think people were thinking in their mind, they're like, all right, if we get over the 2011 highs, we're buying. They did, right? They did. They bought the breakout. They bought the technical breakout, and it totally was just a trap. I think we need a breakdown to set the trap. Does that make sense? And again, I'm not even going to change my notes for my gold. It's the same. Silver. Same thing. Probably coming back down to the 17s. You don't really need to do much. Yeah, I mean, Wild Warrior, I don't really care if you are convinced of the oil short or not. It's just all evidence based. It's repeating patterns. Like there's nothing certain here, my friend. If the market slaps, oil gets slapped too, my friend. That's just how it is. If it doesn't, well then guess what? I don't know. I just don't know. We'll get to oil shortly. At this point, silver, let it go. Remember, silver's purgatory. You don't want to own this. You don't want to be early at all. The best times to buy it are what? When it slams. Like COVID. Pow. Remember we talked about it's probably going to have some like huge gap. Like Michael Strahan gap. Man, look at that. 14 down to 12. Ugly. And then that'll be like, 3 gap trap. 1 gap, 2 gap, 3 gaps. Wide and loose. Look at the volume. That's how you knew it was the lows, right? No, it's like, oh, it's COVID. I mean, even now, and think about that volume is 56 million shares. What are we doing these days? Nothing. Yeah, nothing. 19. Is that million? Yeah, 21 million. Wait for it to blow out. And now again, everybody who knows me knows I love this stuff. Buy the physical if you can get the premiums low. GDXJ, leave it alone. Leave it alone. But we like this one way better because it got back up. Now, how low could it go? I mean, there's a reason why I have this alarm set at 28. If you go look at the monthly, which that's what we're going to do, you can see, I'll just do a little, was it this low? Sorry. Let's do some drawings. We would not agree that this is the support zone. So, I mean, I don't think it's just going to double bottom. And if anything, again, it could get absolutely puked. And again, my notes on gold and silver haven't changed. I don't need to change them. GDX, leave it alone. These guys are going to have to be buying, and that's why it's ugly. Look at this thing. As the GDXJ got up to the May highs, this thing got nothing. Just leave it alone. I don't want to even buy. Oh, I'm looking at, sorry, I didn't change it back to the daily. I have no desire to play in this rabbit hole. None. None-ya. None-ya. All right? Just keep that in mind. Like, just don't. Just don't. Let me see something real quick. If I can. Quality. How about auto? Will that change it? Okay. Well, nope, that didn't mess with the resolution. I don't even want to go through the miners because I think you guys know that there's no time like now to buy them. Like, there's none. Like, why would you want to buy them? Like, no time to spend wasting time on. Let's get into the whole tech wrecker. Apple. Somebody tried to tell us we were crazy for shorting. No. Filled the gap. Got over the trend line. This did what I thought the SPY might do. Like, kind of like a look above and fail. Oh, man. This is what's getting a little dicey here with it. It's like, man, it better hold here. It better hold here. And if it doesn't, you start pulling it across. You start pulling these across now. I think you can see there's a little bit. Where is it? This volume, yeah. There, that's why you can actually pull it again. Remember, high volume highs, high volume lows, love to retest. This is an old primary trend line. Broke, failed. Does it come into play again? Probably. What I would like to see is some little trapper keeper around the 160, 200 day. Get people excited, bounce 5 points, then boom. I don't think this actually has much upside to it, which is probably not what people are expecting. Because this is when the market starts panicking, the big names become what? The ATM of the market, y'all. If you didn't know that, that's what it is. They're going to take the money. So at this point, I think you have to be very thoughtful of what? The bigger trend's down. Oh, their buyback, all this stuff, doesn't matter. Let's zoom back out. I mean, you could argue that right there's another one. Yep. I said this last week, and I said it, and I still believe it. I think at some point, again, like 160, you hit it, you bounce, flop. But either way, if you were short from the highs, you cannot give up your position. I asked people to listen to the Livermore stuff this morning. He talks about, like, once you have the short in your favor, trade around it. And now, he never even recommended trading around it. He just would talk about how he managed his positions. But he never really talked about, like, what I'm trying to explain to you guys is what I took from it and how I extrapolated and tried to figure it out. I'm like, so this guy is nailing big trends, but he's not staying short the whole time, right? He's like taking profits off and then he's shorting back. And maybe you hedge it with calls. That's your desire, whatever. Microsoft. Broken glass everywhere. Me and Puffy just don't care, if I remember right. That's how that song went. Take that, take that, take that. So when you start looking at the next support resistance, I would say somewhere in this 250, 260. Now, when you look in the long-term stuff, yeah, that was a big chop zone. I'm going to just delete that. It's just way too disgusting. That was from the past. I think it gets real obvious here at some point that this is going much lower because you've got the head and shoulders top clear as day. People are going to go, oh, shoot, talk. What is going on? We got to get out. This is one of the ones that I am not probably going to be doing a ton on because I think this is about to go perpendicular. And when I say perpendicular, I'm talking south for the winter, y'all. Right? It just is what it is. I mean, This is one where it's a little sloppier. That's why it's really hard here. But whatever. If you're one of my favorite Google trolls and you're watching this and you're like, oh, it's going to 140. What did you say? 144? Yeah, 144. Someone told me that, and I'm like, yeah, okay. Sounds good, Beavis. I mean, you can see what the support zone is down here. I would assume you connect all this. Here you go. Notice how weak it looks, though, right? Like when we pull up some of those commodity names, they're all like up here. Tech is just like, Tech and gold. I still remember that one troll trying to tell me, I own Tesla and gold. I've got the best trades in the market. It was like, you've got the two worst. And I told him months ago. It's funny how that works. Speaking of Tesla, the split is death, nail. Death, nail. And when I mean that, I mean it nicely, because I don't think people are going to be paying attention to what's going on, because naturally they won't. I think you can see very clearly at some point. You're probably going to, this 0.382 is also support resistance. You got support around the 250. Just trade your levels. I mean, I've got some stuff on it that's super long dated. Super long dated. And when I, what do I call it? Sorry, someone's hit me up. Ruse and noise room. What are these people talking about? I'm trying to answer people's questions if they need help. This one's going to be sloppy choppy. You're just going to have to what? More you're up, less you own, trade around it. But just be aware, like this is like the big wave down, right? This is the hardest part about, I feel like what people don't understand with Tesla is, I mean, it's not even getting close, right? And we talked about how this is the 0.618 and then fail. At some point, it's probably going lower. You run your fib extractions lower. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets cut in half. Wouldn't be a big deal. I mean, we've seen it in every other old leader, Zoom and PayPal and all your other favorite names. We'll see. Just be safe out there. I mean, I love Tesla for me personally trading because I've got a short in it, and I've got December. Probably not gonna really look at it for a while. Just gonna let it run. I mean, I've got more aggressive shorts in Microsoft and Apple, so I'm gonna trade around those. But I think Tesla is just a let it run, an absolute let it run. SMH coming into support here. We talked about some people took some profits. I mean, I got it. I understood. I understand your thinking. I understand it. Let me redraw now the fibs because it's confirmed that we're going lower, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, look where the 50% fib lines up. Wow, it's crazy how that lines up with my blue box. I didn't draw that. I'm telling you, that's how it lines up. I mean, the fibs line up certain ways. That's great. I hope this, again, I'm trying to make you guys realize, like, the computers run the game. Just be aware of that. So they're drawing. I mean, they always talk about this. Like when you complete a fib and the levels of support resistance line up with the 0.5, 0.32, 0.618. Ooh, fun. I mean, look where the 0.618 lines up, right? Right here at the gap. Let me draw that real quick. You can see it. Oh, give me. Yep, there you go. Again, I think this is going much lower. I've told people they don't realize this. Chips turn into a commodity and they get beaten at some point. Not like there's chip companies going out of business. That's just what it is. That is just what it is. So know your levels. So I really think it's probably going down. I've said this on Friday when people took the profit. I was like, I think you're going to get a little lower. But then you're going to get that bounce. And this bounce now starts to look like what? Now, again, I hate to draw too much on my hourly or my daily. But I think if you drew it out, you probably see it's going to be somewhere probably what? Around here. 225s. That would be your bounce. So think of here, I'll just draw it kind of as like, you see it, right? Like a, sorry, come on, pencil. You get like this bounce, then boom, then bounce, then boom. Because keep in mind, the neck, like even the wave theory potential within intraday is no different, right? Like people are going to start buying, and every time it rejects, it gets worse. Hope that makes sense. Trade around your position. Just be intelligente. NVIDIA talked about this when people were like, it's like I put out alert, like watch it. What happens when it fills the gap? The stock is ugly. This isn't bullish, man. People are like, oh, you got to buy NVIDIA for. I'm like, no. NVIDIA is ugly. Not a sweetheart anymore. Probably gonna hold what? Somewhere around here. Near term. Hard to see the blue line make red. Then I get too much red. I'll get a bleed of red. I can't. It's just hard. Because then I got red candles and red boxes. I think it's a little hard, Chris. I would be watching this. What's next? Let's get into some of these. Again, any uranium bulls here before I get started on my typical rants on materials, because I'm going to end it with materials. We'll keep this going a little bit longer. Yeah, cool. Any uranium bulls here? And I'm talking about like bullish any day that ends with Y. Like just never can see the uranium stuff dropping. Anybody? Just curious. Because I'm going to be talking to you for the next minute or two. Like a little baby. Let's get like the Starbucks coffee and use a straw. I don't ever use straws. No uranium bulls? Good. I think I've cleansed the palate of those folks and just made them wake up. Ready to sell. Talked about it. Upside target zone. He nailed it. Now uranium. I get fundamentals. Yeah, fundamentals. I get it. Stop telling me about fundamentals, because fundamentals don't mean anything. The market's not rational. Oh, this should be priced at this. Well, guess what? This isn't like going to the shopping market where the price is set. No, these are fluctuating prices. This isn't CCJ. If it was fundamentals, it'd probably trade at some X dollar amount, and that's what it'd be. That's not how it goes. So get back under here. I mean, it's funny. It did a last minute close back over it, and I'm going to laugh when it gaps down. Keep in mind, so this is where we talk about the commodities, like demand destruction, the recession. Like, yes, long-term higher. No one's arguing that. Near-term destruction. Everybody. Tide goes out, all boats get, what? Stuck. Sink. All that. Whatever you want to call it. As Buffett says, when tide goes out, who's swimming naked, whatever. This company probably has a bathing suit on. But still, it's going to struggle. I've said this, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it. And I'll draw you my box of perfection, my potential here. I still think we're coming back down into this level. And will it be rational? Nope. Will it make sense? Nope. Will everybody be like, what the heck is going on? There's my alarm, that little red thing. Let me move it up just a tad. Yep, there you go. 18 price. I'll be there with a net. People who are over trading now are paving the way for our wins later. That's a Livermore quote. People don't get it. Probably first support 20. Bounce up. I mean, again, it's one of those things. If we're wrong, fine. But if you study the past, right, which that's the goal here, is to start in the past to learn your future, go look at the monthly. 2008, uranium was flying high. Banger, boom, smash. I'll get the meta here in a second. Thoughts on it? It's going lower. But here, this is what I keep trying to tell people. Like, this is the 2000s coming out of the tech bubble. You got like this choppiness, and it brought you right back. Right back. Now, again, I know it's $2, $3, but remember, it's split. But doesn't this look very similar? Like, you had like this up move. You thought it was going, and then it's like, bam. Zoom into now. Same thing. You're getting this up move, and it's going to slam back down to where, what? Support. It's probably going to slam back down to here. Then it goes. All right. CCJ. Let me just, if you're shorting it, I mean, most people aren't. Again, I don't recommend shorting these things because they don't have the best risk reward if the market does get squirrely with inflation stuff. But, I mean, I'm putting them on my list to watch. Hey, William, I'll do meta for you. Ah, thank you, man. Appreciate the feedback. It's just me, man, and me and a few other folks just telling y'all how it works. Most people aren't going to give away free information, but I don't care because I trade off of it. I don't just tell you guys what I'm doing and I'm like, I didn't do that. No, I'm laying it out there. You can follow if you like, but this is a buy yourself game. We don't hit enter for each other. We talked about the upside target zone. Man, it hit it perfect. That's pretty impressive. And now what? It's coming back down. This is the thing about, oh man, I'm drawing on the daily and leaving on the monthly. My bad. So monthly, anyway, doesn't matter. Look at it. Once it breaks the trend, you see the monthly trend. I apologize. I need to like drawing on the daily, not even spaced out in another planet. Now what, right? Let's look at the daily. I mean, you can see it pretty clearly what's happening here. Break that blue zone. Adios, amigo. And guess what? I mean, this thing has been lagging hard, right? When the market, like, think about it. Like, this thing has gotten right back to highs really quick. Not bullish, man. Not bullish, William. And again, I see a cat in your avatar, so I don't know if what that says. My wife loves cats. We have cats. We used to have a dog. But I hope that just does not mean you're soft. Because a lot of cat people are sensitive, and the market just isn't very nice to people who think buy and hold is great. God, what's up, Lo? My cat, Lou. Yeah, the market's just not safe, man. It's not a buy and hold market. It's a bear market. And when a bear market ends, then you can go into buy and hold mode. Bear markets are what? Traders market until the end. Till the end. CF, please. All right, let's just get into open mic. Thoughts on someone's like, oh gosh, someone on the YouTube's like, hey, thoughts on gold and silver. Bad. No. Kind of distracted me, but CF is in the same realm. All right, so you guys remember me talking about volume. If you're not reading the books that I recommend, there's literally two. There's only two, right? Volume price analysis. What do we talk about? Stopping power. Can y'all see this? Very clear. I mean, I've talked about this. And then what? It couldn't break. Zing, hence it goes to new highs. This is the biggest problem, though. Yes, there is a massive, agriculture's on a massive tear. No one's argued that. The problem right now with this formation is what? That is a novice gap, man. And then you got a doji. I'm not going to short this, but if this had an MSFT or an AAPL or a TSLA ticker symbol, I'd short the junk out of it and not even think twice about it. So this is not a professional gap to me. This is a novice gap. Remember we talked about the straight line moves precede the reversal? Here's one and it went higher than, but I'm looking more at this kind of gap, but it's hard because like you said, it's on a tear, right? So you don't know. Could it go even higher? That's the question. I feel like you're more at this rate with like this gap action, right? This is like massive up. Gap goes a little higher, then gets indecisive. Now again, like I said, I'm not shorting this personally, but if I owned CF, I'm taking profits. I am absolutely taking. I mean, this thing went at 180 to 120 in a bear market. Now again, this is a name put on your radar, obviously for the long term, no doubt. Nobody would argue that. Great stock. I think they're going to do well. But I would be taking my profit and anticipating a pullback, William. And that's just because bear markets do what? Like, let me make sure. Let me show you the. I mean, again, this stock has been around. Look at the monthly. Look what happened in 2008. 34 down to 8. Now, the dynamics are probably different. We'll all agree with that, right? Shortages, food stuff. Can you short it? Well, are you long it? Because I think I can give you some decent advice. Remember these big green candles. The month's not over. I bet it's going to have a wick. Can I give you some advice? Are you long it or are you just trying to short it, Will? because that's the question here. If you are long and you want to hedge, there is an easy trade here. Like, so you're not long. You're thinking about shorting it. Well, here's the easy trade too then. You got to use the reference highs. You got to use 119.53. Now, since that's not a big round number, we know typically what happens. You're going to see round numbers touch sometimes and violate. So say people put stops on their shorts at 120, it'll go to like 120.19, 120.23, something crazy, and they'll knock people out, and then it'll go and drop. If you're a naked short it, which again, I like it actually, the way it looks. I think your best trade though is just if you're in it, I don't know where you're in it, but I'd be shorting up and stopping at the highs. And if you get stopped out, then guess what? Your loss is minimum. But this is not a bad risk reward. No one, I love when I see this runaway gap stuff because I know you're getting close. At worst, you get like a pullback like this, 109 down to 88, right? Would you take 23, 24 points? Yeah, I would. Remember, the last straight line move. Because again, if you flip this chart upside down, you would say this is a bottom. But people don't know how to short the highs. And it's like, it literally looks the same. It's just the chart's painted the other direction. Oh, but this is scary to short. Okay. Well, if you have stops, it's not. Mosaic said, watch these levels. This is why, I don't like Mosaic as much. It's not acting as well. But look at the action, right? Same kind of thing. Like this gap and now doji and then... Right? So remember we talk about, if you think about Livermore, like watch the names that are related to the stocks you're in. NTR, remember when this was Potash? Gap, and what? Inside day. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? Just, ooh, I think I see something here. I do. Here's your point of control, the top of the VAP zone. Do you see that, William? I mean, you can see it, right? Let me extend it. You see that? So think about it. If the market's a liquidity-driven mechanism, you're into the liquidity points, right? Hopefully that's clear. I mean, this is the thing about trading. I always tell people, like, if a 12-year-old can't see what you're talking about, then, man, you are making trading way too hard. Way too hard. That should be clear as day. You see that, William? Let me open it up. It doesn't look as good unless you close it up, because then you can really see how it compares. You good? We good? All right. Any other questions? I'll just open mic it at this point. So what are you okay buying? What do you think I'm okay buying? If it's a bear market and we're coming off the highs with professional gaps, what would I be buying? Inverse ETFs, puts on pops. I mean, if you're not familiar with the channel, this is literally talking about shorting it up here. Here you go. First professional gap, second one, eating out all the bulls. It's going lower, and this is what I've said. You got to be very careful because, first of all, it's a ugly head and shoulders top. Wave 1, people think it's just a pullback. Wave 2, it's a correction, not a big deal. Wave 3, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. That's what you have to think about. And if you don't see it that way, then let me show you the monthly. Because this is the thing about, I think so many people are missing the bigger picture on. The monthly says game over. Straight line moves. Remember we just talked about CF. Straight line move. Here's your straight line move, right? Danger. Here you go. Here's 1999. Danger. You made a lower high. Danger. Let me open that up. Goes from 120 down to 20. Physical thoughts? What symbol is this? This is the QQQ monthly. Danger. High, lower highs. Another lower high. Danger. I'm not trying to be funny, but it is kind of sad because people don't see it coming. Danger. You hit the point of control. Exactly. Danger. Here it is on the monthly. Here you go. See this little blue zone? Doink. Doink. Uh-oh. Here comes good old engulfing bar. Greg asked me, physical gold, silver thoughts. I mean, I like gold and silver physical. I don't like the paper game. I mean, you're never going to be able to buy it without these crazy premiums, which I continue to do anyway. I did it on the last video. I'll go into gold real quick, but you got to leave it alone. You got to leave it alone. The monthly is going to come back to the 0.382. Gold is the retest king. It's a big cup and handle, 0.382. Here's the monthly. Somewhere around 158. I'm putting an alarm at 157. I think it probably could even get down to the 50-month in an exaggerated move, because guess what? When the market starts puking, the VIX spikes, everything gets sold. Everything gets sold. Greg, and now again, physical, like it. Paper, The miners, I mean, they look so bad. So bad. So bad. The GDX is just like tinkering on the depth of... Oh, let me get the daily. I'm like, I gotta figure out a way to remind myself, because I'm not used to bouncing from screen to screen. This looks so bad. It looks so bad. We talked about like the candle that might lead, like you started to see like there could be a bounce. You got your bounce, and it was so weak. So weak. It's going lower. And I tell people all the time, like, when's the best time to buy the miners? When the Feds pivot, right? Feds pivoted here, zing. Feds pivoted in 2008, bam, zabow, zapow, zapow. Just don't be early. It's gonna go way lower than we think. Oops. I gotta take this off. I apologize, YouTube. But that's how I felt about that zone for many years. It's the show me the money zone. And we can always struggle to get over it. And then once we got over it, right, you can see it here. Now it's been support. Now we're below it. It's show me the exit. I still think at some point you could get something crazy at a 16. So, Greg, I'm not trying to dash your hopes and dreams, but silver and gold are not hedges. They'll hold up better, but they're not hedges for a market liquidation event. Nothing safe. Not even your friendly pet rock. Probably not going to be your friendly pet crypto. It's going to be the dollar and the bond market. Those are going to spawn. And if somehow the bond market breaks and the dollar breaks, finally Tesla. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've talked about Tesla. I mean, I'll say it again. This thing is a dead money. I said this for months and years actually. Nobody wanted to invest in Tesla. Then it goes on a run, right? It goes on a big run. The whole time it's running, what is the one thing that was hilarious? You know, they talked about car crashes, the software is junk, they only make money on EV credits, the company's overvalued. Anyway, I mean, the street hated it, right? Everybody hated it. I mean, every broker was just like, it's not this, it's not that, and everyone in retail is like, I don't know about that. One candle changes everybody's opinion. This candle going from 260, now remember, split to 370. Now retail's all in. And what has happened since retail went all in and Elon starts selling? Just making lower lows, lower highs. And the irony of this is what? That's just how it is. I mean, keep in mind, I mean, that's why I asked you guys to read these books, the psychology of this stuff, how the market makers operate. They're trying to take your money. If you don't think someone's trying to take your money in trading, then go to a casino and ask them to hand you $10,000. They're not going to do that. Go tell your bookie, hey, give me 10 grand. I don't care if I win or lose. No. That's just silly. This is a casino game. All right, I'll end it on XPI. I mean, I hope this kind of stuff helps. I try to really dig deep into these charts, because a lot of people just, again, you see what you want to see. I'm trying to be the neutral observer. I mean, and this is the thing as Livermore talked about. Like, it's really hard to be neutral, right, when you own or short stocks. But, well, this is the thing. You got to be evidence-based. We talk about this every day. Am I trading well? Am I doing what the market's doing? All right. Let's draw this one up for y'all, because I know some people were like, oh, what should I do here? What did we say last week? It's probably going to bounce in this zone between 85 and 83, 84, whatever. Now what if it carves through it like a turkey, like carving through the turkey on Thanksgiving. I mean, 80 down to 78. Let me just open this up because it could be. This becomes your next zone. So if you're playing this correctly, in my opinion, yeah, I'm glad you guys are here. I mean, I'm just like sitting here like, man, I need to just start showing you guys what I'm doing and just get my big computer dialed in for this stuff. At some point, we're going back down to here, right? You can see this is the next support zone as well. Draw this stuff. Pretend, like, see it for yourself. That's why I like drawing this stuff live and you can see it. So how does it play out, right? It probably does this, right? Down, up, down, up, down, up, kapow. Chop, 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 kapow. And let me just, and how would I know that? Like, we don't. But if it's a bear market, that's what it's going to look like, right? That's what it's going to look like. Right? Something like that. Here was it in the past, right? Down, pop, down, pop, down, pop, blop. It just is what it is. Sorry, reading the comments. Just be aware it's probably how it's going to go. But at any point, this is wave 3, and the VIX could spike into 50 or 60s. Maybe China takes over Taiwan. Maybe Russia gets frisky. Maybe. Again, all the outlooks make everything look worse. Agreed. Looking for long-term accumulate for retirement. Trying to stack, accumulate close to the bottom. Start with silver recently with a couple thousand ounces. I like gold since countries accumulating, Greg. This is going to be the hardest part with gold and silver. You know, the paper market has to implode or reset. And the reset means what? Probably goes much lower before it goes higher. That's the irony here. And I'm going to end it with there. And hopefully, hey, Chris, is that good? You good with the XBI? You see what I'm saying here? How you're going to get like this, you know, and then boom. And this up could be like that. It could be like this kind of junk. And again, I don't know how choppy it'll be, but we'll see when we get there. Because remember, you have September. Let me put it. When you're drawing out your candles, I mean your charts, if you want, you can do this. Like put it. All right, there's the Fed day, right? Like probably going to run up into the Feds if the market's down, right? Just like when we ran up into the Feds, then you got slammed. Well, maybe the Feds say something a little less. But again, I think they're not going to. Again, if you look at all the Fed governors are like, we're not thinking about stopping raising rates until next year at worst. So is it next year? No. The hardest part, again, is going to be about gold and silver, is that, I mean, it's digital currencies, uranium, whatever you think is going to be the best thing for the long term here. It's all got, you have to wipe out the masses. The market is a liquidity driven game. Until they capitulate, they're not going to run it up. Now, I know people like to pretend this like meme ape game that you and I and all of us on this board can somehow manipulate a stock for ourselves. If we buy all the silver and gold out there, it's going to go higher. No, not at all. It just, we got to get the big money to like put it in our favor and just follow them. That's what the irony is. Like the apes want to break the market. I just want to follow it. I don't care. I know it's rigged. It's easier when you just do what they're doing. Thank you. Also playing SQQ and UVIX for the VIX future spike to 29, hopefully mid-30s. Again, I hate the UVIX, UVXY, all those things. Just short the market. Buy some long-dated puts on Apple. Well, you had them. And we talked about when the VIX was at... This is so frustrating. People weren't paying attention. I mean, here, I'll pull up the VIX in because it is the QQQ VIX. And that... Why, I don't know why that candle's there. Talked about you could be buying puts so cheaply, and people started buying UVXY, and I'm like, oh, please don't. Whatever thousands of shares you buy of UVXY or UVIX, whatever, you could have bought Apple puts. You could have bought Amazon, Microsoft. You could have bought so many different trades. I hate the UVXY. I tell people the only time to ever trade it, ever. I know people who do trade it well, and guess what? They are very late. They are never early on the UVXY. You know what the best trade is? to short it every time. I still have like 100 shares in an IRA. Where was it? It was during COVID. Where is it? Where are you, COVID? Short it up here. And I just let it run because it always just goes lower and lower and lower. That's all it is. I still have 100 shares of this. And again, it wasn't this. Now it's how many reverse split? It was 100 shares. I can't remember. I don't even look at it. I think it's just a joke. I'll have to find where it is. I have multiple accounts everywhere, but it's one of the ones I don't look at. And I'm like, I don't care. This thing is always going lower. Please, just be careful with this stuff, man. Wait for the bear market to end, then short this, and then take a break. You want to talk about the easiest trade in the world where you could probably make 90%? Short this. It's not what we're paying attention to. We don't need to then teach us now. We're here and eager to learn. It's not that. Well, Richard, what do you want me to teach? If I give you 5 more minutes, what do you want? Again, that's where the back to basic video is. I'm literally doing all this. It's there. It's all there. It is all there, my friend. Just hang out in the Discord room. Talk about it all day. I mean, thing to think about, hardest part about trading, if prophetic and some of y'all who are, I can teach you this, but you can't execute it. You ever tell like your kids, like, hey, you need to eat your vegetables and brush your teeth, you need to do this? They still don't do it, right? Well, here's the reality in trading, and this is even from my previous mentors. They can give me the information. Can I execute it? Nope. When I'm dumb and again, emotional, can't execute it. Again, it's like giving advice. You know, everyone's really good at giving advice, but can they actually execute it? Well, trading is 1,000 times harder mentally. Can you actually execute it? I can't really tell you how. Again, Richard, you're late. Anybody here who's part of the room, like buying puts now, I don't know. I took some off. We're buying them up here. You're gonna have to wait for a bounce. What contracts? Tell me what stock. Maybe we can kind of build something there. But you ultimately have to do what? You have to be the one in control. If you don't know the strategies, then don't worry about it. Study it. There's always going to be another trade. There's always going to be another opportunity. I tell this folks all the time. They want to get to the point A to point B in 30 seconds. They want to get to the top of the mountain in one day. No way. It's not like that. It is not like that. You have to be mentally strong to be able to execute this stuff. You can't. This is what I always tell people. Like, stop watching CNBC. Stop following Zero Hedge. Stop talking to people on stock twits that are just as confused as you are. It's the crab pot theory. You are in the crab pot and everyone's just talking to each other and you're like, oh, how do we get out of here? I'll pull on me and you're pulling on me and you're getting in my head and you're messing with my thought process. No. Nobody here can influence me. I don't want to be influenced. It's just like Livermore when he had that guy trying to convince him of getting the cotton. No. I got to be evidence-based. Evidence is all that matters. You can tell me what you think. I don't care. If the evidence doesn't say that, I don't agree with you. Because I'm going to be trading the probabilities. Now, if you're right and I'm wrong, that happens. But if I'm wrong trading the probabilities, that happens. I'm not trying to one-off the trade. It's not like we're not sitting here playing blackjack and I got a 6 and I need to double down on it. No, I'm going to wait for an 11 or a 10 every time and I'm going to do that. I want to move my investment in something that's going right direction. 6 months at least. What do you see as a high place to put cash? Preserve your capital. That is the first step here. If you don't know what you're doing. I mean, all of my retirement accounts that I can't manage, cash. But they were cash as of last year, fortunately. End of last year. Third quarter. This is hard because you're asking, like, this is not wave 1. Look at the Qs. This is the head and shoulders top that you gotta be gone on. Now what? I don't know. I mean, it's a bear market by definition is a trader's market that ends with a whoosh. That's all it is. A bull market is a what? An upscaling market that ends with a straight line rip higher. Well, if you want growth, then you gotta you got to be, I always tell this, you're anticipating the moves. That's what we do. We anticipate the moves. We don't react, because now you're reacting. And again, if you take this personal, I don't mean that, but this is the thing. Like, if you aren't shorting up at the highs, and now the volume is confirming the trend breaking, I don't know what to tell you. Because if you go out and chase and the market pops back, which it always does, it's not straight line moves, you're going to be losing money now. But if it goes lower and you have these assets, you're going to be losing money anyway. Do you see how, like, now this becomes mental? This isn't about trading. It's being out of position. Because if you short it up at the highs, like we talked about, let me pull up the SPY. It's easy. I don't have to think. I don't look at my account balance from minute to minute. I just hang out. So wait for the inverse head and shoulders in months and years? No. What is the defining moment of the up market, right? A blowout top. What is the defining moment of a bear market? The blowout lows. Everybody's going to hate stocks. That's when you know the bottom is. The volume will confirm it. The action will confirm it. That's how you know. Study the past. When you ask me these questions, and again, I appreciate it, but my answer is always look in the past. There's nothing new. If you read Livermore, you read every great trader's novel, journal, they got all their insight from the past. Because people don't change. Emotions are still there. People are still insane when it comes down to how they manage money, because they're controlled by their emotions. Yes, there is plenty more downside, but we don't know for sure. And people go, what happens if it turns into a raging bull market because of inflation? We go like Argentina style. Well, guess what? I mean, if we go Argentina style, then I'll just go and buy back the market, and I'm not worried about it. But you see, this is like probability based. So I anticipate the Fed's doing the right thing because they don't want to lose the currency status, right? They don't want to lose the world's currency status. I mean, there's a fight going on. But if they're smart, they have to raise interest rates. They have to take down commodity prices. They have to reset the economy by doing what? Taking liquidity out that they threw gasoline on the fire. Now they have to let the fire go out. Or what? There's going to be riots. People are going to get frustrated. People are going to be like, I get the cost of everything. We know that. Inflation always, 5% inflation or more starts a recession. Every single time. Every single time. I appreciate you guys. And again, I want to help you, Richard, or whoever's at, but you have to help yourself. Like, asking questions is a great place to start. And in these forums, great. But I always tell people, know that you know. Well, what does that mean? Know that you know. Well, damn, what does that mean? SM, I'm pulling up ExxonMobil. You can see my point of resistance. I had my alarm. I had a short at 100 and it didn't hit. I'm so mad, missed it by 9 cents. You just have to study. Again, I can't guide you through your own weaknesses and your own personal traits. I can give you all, like, again, stop by the Discord room. If you're not in the Discord room and you're not following the channel, that's fine. I don't take it personal, but there's tons of resources here. Tons of resources here. I only recommend 2 books, and then the Trader's Almanac if you're trading. Back to basics videos for days. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff here, and I make it available because why? It works. Works for me. I don't need you to pay me for anything to be here. Don't need it. Don't need any of that. But I understand if you're at this point and you're hearing this going, oh gosh, what am I going to do? That's like me chasing. I tell you, I don't chase anything. I don't chase ever. Ever. Why? Because there's always going to be a counter move. You just have to know that and understand it. Like, you start shorting down here on this drop, and then what? It bounces back against you. No, I appreciate you guys wanting to learn because, again, I was at that point too. Like, I'm just like, tell me more. And it was like, experience it, live it, see it. Because all this information doesn't really mean anything until you execute it. And that's why the people are sticking around sitting there going, holy good Jesus. Oh my God. This makes sense. Now, we're not always right. I'm not here to promise that. No, we win 9 out of 10 times. But we also don't chase every flashy trade or every flashy potential. We don't do everything. We get picky. We get very selective. My nickname has always been the sniper trader because I'm only going for shots. They do what? Y'all know. It's the headshot. All right. I'm going to let it run. I mean, think about it too. Like, stop at it. I mean, you guys should see the notes. I have pages and pages of notes about the mindset of this stuff. Like how I literally couldn't wrap my head around the reality of what was happening because it was all, my head was cloudy. That happens. It happens to every one of us. That's what this room is going to be great for. Is because what's the evidence saying? I'll talk to you guys and gals later. Please, again, think about yourselves when you're trading and how you influence your own ideas with the market. If you couldn't short 2 weeks ago because the market was telling you going higher, 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 and you couldn't short that because you believed what the news was saying, and you didn't know the levels, and you didn't know what to do, and now you're just sitting here with your thumbs twiddling going, dang it. Well, then come by the room. This is what we talk about. Study, read the books. No, thank you guys. You got to learn this stuff. And at the lows, what are they going to say? Who remembers when we were buying in June, the 3-gap trap? We popped. We talked about it's going to bounce back, and then that was it. And then it did a double take, and everyone's like, it's going lower. I'm like, no, you got to buy more. And then a professional gapped up. Then the red candle that everyone thought was going lower. Zing, pow. Yeah, I've seen this. I know this. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, imagine buying the dip. Here, I'll just end it here. If you're watching, Greg or Rich. We talked about the bottom is in, but don't chase it. Look what happened. Came right back. Came right back. Then it started the zinger move. Now what happened? Drop, pop, then the zing. At some point, there will be a pop. There will be a pop. But we don't know until what? It happens. Y'all have a good night. The futures are, man, a couple hours. Who knows? No clue what's going to look like. All right. Talk to you.